has a visibly spooked Trump now vowed fire and fury against Tehran, after Iran's most prominent proxy force directly threatened one of America's closest Gulf allies? Has the United States issued its biggest warning yet after Houthi rebels attacked Saudi oil tankers in the middle of an ongoing naval blockade in the Red Sea? Having failed to fully stop the Houthis with military force just last year, is Trump now warning Mojtaba directly to rein in Iran's most defiant regional ally? Iran will pay, has Trump exploded with this blunt warning as the Houthis appear to be rejoining active hostilities and pulling yet another front into this widening war? Donald Trump issued a direct warning to Iran as fresh Houthi strikes threatened to open an entirely new front in an already sprawling Middle East conflict. On July 23, Trump stated clearly that the United States will hold Iran directly responsible for any future attacks carried out by Houthi forces going forward. Describing the Houthis explicitly as an Iranian proxy force, the president promised that any further attacks would trigger major and severe military punishment. Trump said, and I quote, "A year ago the United States of America attacked, very powerfully, the Houthis, for their interference with commerce and trade, by shooting at ships. Since that time, and during our conflict with Iran, they have acted very responsibly. Unfortunately, now they are starting up again, shooting at 2 Saudi Arabian ships last night. Please let this truth serve to represent that if they do this again, the US will hold Iran responsible, in that the Houthis are a surrogate and or proxy of Iran. And major military punishment will be inflicted upon Iran, and of course the Houthis themselves, who I am very disappointed with in that they have, until now, acted very professionally and smart." Unquote. This stark warning followed direct Houthi claims of carrying out strikes on 2 separate Saudi oil tankers navigating through the Red Sea. On July 22, the Houthis stated that the tankers in Celia and Layla were specifically targeted for breaking their self-declared naval blockade in the region. According to multiple reports, this attack would mark the very first strike since the Houthis originally announced their naval blockade against Saudi Arabia. Saudi state media outlet SBA reported that a fire broke out aboard the tanker in Celia, immediately following the reported attack in the Red Sea. Saudi authorities confirmed that all crew members aboard the vessel remained safe, even though the ship itself sustained notable damage in the attack. Trump's latest warning arrives at a moment when the United States and Riyadh are actively strengthening their broader relationship through a new nuclear cooperation agreement. The United States and Saudi Arabia announced a historic civilian nuclear cooperation agreement on July 22. The Trump administration says the deal marks a major step toward strengthening long-term strategic ties with Riyadh, according to Al Jazeera. Washington describes the agreement as a strategic partnership focused on energy security and regional cooperation. U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright said, and I quote, "These agreements reflect our 2 nations' shared commitment to strengthening U.S.-Saudi commercial relations, delivering prosperity at home and security to our allies abroad. Rest assured, these agreements uphold the highest standards of nuclear safety and non-proliferation while relying on the world's best nuclear technology and scientists, designed right here in the United States." Unquote. The multi-billion-dollar agreement will now be submitted to the U.S. Congress for review, according to Al Jazeera. American companies are expected to provide Saudi Arabia with advanced civilian nuclear technology under the agreement. The partnership is structured under Section 123 agreement of the U.S. Atomic Energy Act. Officials say the pact also includes safeguards designed to ensure peaceful civilian nuclear cooperation. Washington maintains that the agreement fully complies with strict nuclear safety and non-proliferation standards. Reports suggest the agreement could eventually allow Saudi Arabia to enrich uranium on its own soil. The U.S. Energy Department has not confirmed whether uranium enrichment is included in the final arrangement. Experts note that uranium enrichment can fuel civilian reactors but can also be used in nuclear weapons programs. If enrichment rights are included, the issue is expected to face intense scrutiny in the U.S. Congress. The enrichment question is likely to become the most closely watched element of the entire agreement. The agreement comes as military confrontation between the United States and Iran continues to escalate. President Trump has repeatedly insisted that Iran must never obtain a nuclear weapons capability. The Saudi nuclear agreement is expected to spark fresh debate over Washington's long-term strategy in the Middle East. President Donald Trump has approved a landmark 30-year civil nuclear cooperation agreement with Saudi Arabia, according to an AP report. The proposed agreement could allow Saudi Arabia to develop a domestic uranium enrichment capability for its civilian nuclear energy program. Reports said the deal would place American companies at the center of Saudi Arabia's long-term nuclear development efforts. The proposal also includes a joint US-Saudi study on building a uranium enrichment facility inside the kingdom. The deal is expected to be submitted to the US Congress, where lawmakers are likely to raise concerns over nuclear proliferation. According to the Wall Street Journal, the agreement is not expected to include the IAEA's additional protocol for enhanced nuclear inspections. The decision comes as Washington continues its broader campaign to curb Iran's nuclear program and regional influence. Experts have warned that allowing Saudi uranium enrichment could create a future pathway toward a potential nuclear weapons capability. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman has previously said Saudi Arabia would match Iran if Tehran were to acquire a nuclear bomb. The proposed agreement differs from the earlier UAE-United States nuclear deal, which prohibited uranium enrichment and set a stricter non-proliferation benchmark. Donald Trump has ordered a 12th consecutive night of US airstrikes against Iran, signaling that Washington has no intention of easing military pressure. The latest wave of attacks marks another major escalation as missiles and warplanes continue striking targets across Iran. US Central Command says the campaign is focused on reducing Iran's ability to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. US Central Command statement read, and I quote, "At 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time today, US forces began launching more strikes against Iranian military targets at the Commander-in-Chief's direction. The mission will continue to further degrade Iran's ability to threaten civilian mariners and commercial vessels transiting regional waters," unquote. At 10:30 p.m. Eastern Time on July 22nd, US Central Command, CENTCOM, forces completed another round of strikes against Iran for the 12th consecutive night. US forces struck Iranian military targets including maritime capabilities, missile and drone storage facilities, coastal surveillance sites, and air defense assets. The strikes further degrade Iran's ability to attack civilian mariners and commercial vessels. This month, American forces have targeted dozens of Iranian military sites on land while resuming a blockade against Iran at sea. As of today, CENTCOM has redirected 9 commercial vessels and disabled one to prevent ships from entering or departing Iranian ports. More than 50,000 US service members are operating across the Middle East and remain highly vigilant, focused, lethal, and ready, unquote. Fresh explosions have been reported around Iran's Bushehr region as Iranian media accuses the United States of expanding its campaign. Blasts were also reported near Avaz, while explosions echoed through Sirik in southern Iran. Iranian media says areas near the Shalamcher border crossing with Iraq also came under attack. According to Press TV, the United States struck a rest area used by Iranian police officers near the crossing. Iranian reports claim 3 people were killed in the strike at the Shalamcher border crossing.